Hey there people, Yuri from Redshirts Gaming here. A lot of people play it, some people want to play it. But what do you need to play Dungeons and Dragons? Well, in this video, I'll be taking a look at it together with you guys to see what you absolutely need, and maybe some extra. Let's go. So, what do you need to play Dungeons and Dragons, or D&D for short? Well, first off, besides people to play with, you need the rules. Well, there are several options for that. There are free PDFs online put out by Wizards, which are the Quickstart Rules, basically. They encompass a bit, so you can play, you can start. It is fun, but it's not the complete set of rules. If you want to go further, you need more. We're going to look into that. And for that, you need 3 books. The Player's Handbook, Dungeon Master Guide, and a Monster Manual. With these 3 books, you have the basis to play everything you want to play in Dungeons & Dragons. You have the player handbook for players and their characters, races, the classes they play, and all the rules you basically need. A lot of stuff for the Dungeon Master is in there as well. Then you have the Dungeon Master Guide, which has a lot of stuff that helps you building campaigns, items, pre-made items and stuff like that. You could do without, but it's really convenient if you do have it. And then, last but not least, the Monster Manual, which is basically a compendium with all the creatures that are standard to Dungeons & Dragons from the beginning. There are other books with more creatures and stuff like that, but the Monster Manual is the one you really need, has the most in there. It's a really good way to start it with. And that's the basic set of rules that you need to play Dungeons & Dragons if you want to do it extensively. Second, you need a character sheet and probably some paper. The character sheet is important to put all the stats for your character on, how smart he is, how fast he is, strong, stuff like that, as well as the items you have. Some people use separate notebooks for keeping track of items, or even just taking notes for the campaign to make sure to know where you are and what you're doing, hence the paper. And then you need dice, because you use the dice to see what you do and how well you do it. And not just any dice, you need a Polyhedral Dice set, which consists of 7 or 8 dice depending on the set. Every set has a D20, a D12, a D10, a D8, a D6, and a D4. And depending on the set, which most do, you have a percentile die, which looks like a D10, but has instead of a 0 through 9, it has 10 to 90 to make the percentile stuff work. I'll go into that in another video, but that's the basic dice set you need to play Dungeons & Dragons. And if you have that, that's all you really need to play Dungeons & Dragons. Of course, besides it, you can also have battle maps, minis, terrain pieces to put on your map, and a lot of more accessories than that. But these are all optional. D&D started out as a fantasy game, with basically in the theater of your mind. You can play it purely role-playing, all in the mind, all in the fantasy, and you can play it really combat-heavy, using huge battle maps, miniatures, and everything. I am a fan of a combination of both. Use a lot of role-playing, theater of mind, and some battle maps with minis to better portray the combat scenarios, which can become quite chaotic sometimes. But whatever you use of those items and how you do it, it's all up to you, because, again, every player plays differently. And that's it. That's everything you need, everything you can use to play Dungeons & Dragons. I hope you guys liked the video, got some useful information out of it. If you did, please like, maybe subscribe. Would always love that, of course. And of course, if you feel like it, check out my Patreon and my Twitch stream, which is at least every Wednesday and every other Saturday. Hope to see you guys then. Next time.